In the quiet village of Ikede, nestled along the banks of the Osun River in southwestern Nigeria, life was simple. The sun rose with the rooster's crow, and the children's laughter echoed in the air as they played under the sprawling baobab trees. Among these children were Toju and his cousin Abeni, who had come from the bustling city of Ibadan to spend the holidays with her extended family. Toju, a wiry 11-year-old with sharp eyes and an ever-curious mind, was thrilled to have Abeni around. Abeni, at 13, was the perfect blend of confidence and caution, her braided hair adorned with cowrie shells that clinked softly when she moved. The mango season had arrived, and Ikede's mango trees were heavy with ripe golden fruits. There was one tree, however, that no one dared to approach. It stood on the edge of the forest, its gnarled branches reaching out like the arms of an old woman. The villagers called it Igi Ilekun, the tree of boundaries. One evening, as the family gathered for dinner, Grandpa Adewale, the village elder, began his usual stories. His voice was rich and deep, weaving tales of the past. That night he spoke about the mango tree. Many years ago, he began, a young man named Seyi climbed that tree to steal mangoes. He ignored the warnings of the elders. He fell from the highest branch and broke his leg. But that was not all. Grandpa's voice lowered, and the children leaned in. From that day, strange things began happening. The tree is protected by spirits. No one who disrespects it escapes unscathed. Toju's eyes sparkled with curiosity. But Grandpa, he asked, what if someone doesn't believe in the spirits? Grandpa chuckled. Belief is not what matters, Toju. Respect is. The next morning, Toju couldn't stop thinking about the tree. As he and Abeni walked to the village square to buy groundnuts, he whispered, what if we just take a look at the tree? Abeni frowned. Didn't you hear, Grandpa? It's dangerous. Toju shrugged. It's just a tree. What's the worst that could happen? Abeni hesitated, but eventually agreed. After all, it wasn't every day that she got to explore the mysteries of the village. The tree stood tall at the edge of the forest, its branches heavy with plump mangoes. The air around it felt strangely still, as if the world was holding its breath. Toju picked up a stick and threw it at the tree. Nothing happened. He grinned. See? No spirits. Encouraged, he began climbing, ignoring Abeni's protests. The mangoes were even bigger up close, their sweet scent filling the air. Toju, come down, Abeni called. Just one mango, he replied, reaching for the ripest one. As he plucked it, a strong gust of wind blew through the tree, shaking its branches violently. Startled, Toju lost his grip and fell, landing in the soft grass below. Toju wasn't hurt, but as he stood up, he noticed something odd. The mango in his hand had turned black, as if it had rotted instantly. Abeni gasped, Toju, drop it! He tossed the mango aside, his heart racing. They decided to leave quickly, but as they walked back to the village, strange things began to happen. The path seemed longer than usual, and they kept hearing faint whispers in the wind. When they finally reached home, Toju felt an overwhelming sense of dread. That night, he had vivid dreams of the mango tree. In his dream, an old woman with glowing eyes whispered, return what you took, or face the consequences. The next morning, Toju confided in Abeni. I think the tree is angry, he admitted. Abeni nodded. We have to tell Grandpa. Reluctantly, they approached Grandpa Adewale, who listened carefully. The tree doesn't just grow mangoes, he said. It protects the boundary between the living and the spirits. By taking its fruit, you've crossed that boundary. What do we do? Toju asked, his voice trembling. Grandpa smiled gently. The spirits are not unreasonable. You must show respect and make amends. Under Grandpa's guidance, Toju and Abeni prepared a small offering. They placed a calabash filled with palm oil, kola nuts, and a white cloth at the base of the tree. Grandpa chanted softly, speaking words in Yoruba that neither child understood. As they stepped back, the wind rustled the branches, and for a moment, the air felt lighter. Toju felt a strange sense of relief, as if an invisible weight had been lifted. From that day on, Toju and Abeni never went near the tree again. They learned to respect the traditions and wisdom of their elders, understanding that some boundaries are not meant to be crossed. Years later, Abeni would often think back to that summer in Ikede. The mango tree remained untouched, a silent reminder of the lessons they had learned. And while Toju grew into a man who questioned many things, he never doubted the power of respect for nature, for traditions, and for the unseen forces that connect all living things. Subscribe to this channel for more captivating stories and give us a like for motivation to keep creating.